In good old 1985, a movie released to theaters called The Breakfast Club. Directed by legendary teen movie director John Hughes, the film followed 5 teens of wildly different backgrounds and personalities as they attempt to endure their session of Saturday detention. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. The performances in the movie are complex and entertaining while remaining accessible, and it makes great use of its limited premise that it's almost the perfect teen movie. Yeah, notice how I said almost? That's because they fucked it up in the ending so fucking bad. Bender sexually assaults Claire and then gets to kiss her at the end? Allison is the goth GF love of my life, and that popular girl makeover at the end is the worst. Why does she have to change her appearance to get the love of the jock? Why does she need to be the jock's love interest in the first place? It ruins the entire point of it being about accepting who you are and finding yourself in the company that you make. But no, just ruin the cutie goth. That's fine by me. Fuck! That being said, I think that this film encapsulates the 3 necessary components of teen storytelling. The first being relatability, the second being approachability, and the third is something I'll get into a bit later that's something I like personally. First, let's get into relatability. In The Breakfast Club, because of the large diversity of characters, many audience members have someone as an entryway to the main problem all these characters face. That problem being the pressure placed on them to succeed. It doesn't matter if you're a nerd, a jock, a dropout, a fucking cutie goth. The script shows that they all have issues rooted in that drive to succeed that is placed on them at that young age. This is, in one way or another, something nearly all teenagers struggle with. Academic pressure and social pressure are certainly things I felt in abundance, and as a teen, it feels important to see that I'm not alone in that fact, which is why relatability is so important. When making a story about teenagers for teenagers, it's important to make the thematic elements relatable to the audience. Teens want to be heard, and they want to feel less alone in their problems, and besides god-awful books about puberty, the fuck is going on with my body? Fuck. TV shows and movies are where a lot of teens find themselves. However, relatability is only a piece of the puzzle. After all, you can tell kids that they aren't alone about whatever they're feeling bad about all day. But at that point, you're just gonna sound like your old public school guidance counselor who gives you a pamphlet and unknowingly gives you more complexes than you had before walking into their office because they overanalyzed you like you're their own personal therapy dummy. Defund police and fix public schools and make mental health treatment more accessible. Oh boy, I think I got that leftist cough. It's been going around. Tastes Marxist. Approachability has many facets, but if I were to boil it down into its base meaning, I would argue that it's a dampener of theme. Teens don't want to feel preached to. They want to feel heard and they want to feel known. The Breakfast Club feels approachable because of the hilarious, heartwarming, and often heartbreaking performances and nearly impeccable chemistry between each of its main characters. Most of the movie feels natural because its structure feels like a hangout between friends. Bear with me here, but I'm sure you've hung out with your friends. It starts out as a bit tense if you aren't super familiar, but it eventually gets easier to talk and shoot the shit, have a dance party, smoke a little devil's lettuce, and soon enough, as the night goes on, your friends start to eventually open up, and you all just, listen to each other's problems, and that's what The Breakfast Club feels like to me. It feels like I'm hanging out with my friends, and my girlfriend is Allison because she's super cool, and I want to color with her while we go on a trip to Wyoming. Obviously, that's a joke because Allison isn't real, and Wyoming doesn't exist. Anyway, my point is that approachability to teens is an important aspect of teen media. It has to feel relevant while not feeling preachy through natural, engaging entertainment. Which leads me to why I made this video in the first place. Teen TV kinda sucks. Hard. In the 80s and 90s, programming meant for young adults were mostly sitcoms. Full House, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and The Wonder Years come to mind. These shows were mostly jovial affairs with standard sitcom hijinks, but the episodes of these shows that are still remembered and referred to this day are the ones tackling more serious, relatable issues. I wasn't even alive back then, but I'm still moved by the performance of Will Smith in the episode about Will's dad abandoning him. But producers got into a room, they sat down, and they said to each other, hey, we don't have a show like Dallas, but for teens. And then another one of the producers said, you got more blow? And kablamo, the modern age of teen television was born. Now there's only 2 types of teen TV. You got the happy-go-lucky sitcoms of Disney and Nickelodeon like iCarly, Drake and Josh, and more recently, Henry Danger and Tyler Perry's Young Dylan, the guy who made Medea Has a Kids show? And the soap opera CW melancholy BS like Degrassi, where the occasional mature plotline is dropped and replaced with romanticism. Executives thought that teens no longer wanted to know what life was actually like. They wanted exaggerative, romanticized relationships with double crosses and intrigue and true love, all at the age of 16. This increased romanticism and the ever-escalating stakes of what next slowly turned modern-day teens onto just adult soap operas. Nowadays, teens don't watch Degrassi, they watch Grey's Anatomy, and the remaining TV shows meant for teens seems to have devolved into a brand of hyper-melancholic realism, akin to eating a healthy bowl of Captain Crunch's new flavor, oops, all crying. For example, Riverdale was an adaptation of the Slice of Life Archie comic book series in which, spoilers for Riverdale, put this little spoiler, just go, if you want to watch Riverdale, I don't know why you want to watch Riverdale, but just go right now. Alright, they're gone? Okay, in the first episode we find out that Archie had an affair with his English teacher. There's a plotline about a cult later on in the series, and Archie actually dies. And while that might sound intriguing, I can tell you that it's not, because the script is,
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in. Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat on? That's weird.
Bad. 13 Reasons Why is also a botched adaptation of the novel. The novel was originally about the consequences of suicide, and the effect that small and large harmful actions have, which concluded with the realization that if no one else will help, then people should have faith in themselves, communicate, and seek help. And it was turned into a controversy magnet playing mental illness bingo, while juggling the romanticism of revenge suicide, trying to construct ramshackle themes that essentially boiled down to sexual assault and bullying? Hey!
Stop that.
By the way, in the most recent season, they have PTSD ghosts. So, fuck realistic portrayals of mental illness, I guess. Alright, enough fucking complaining. Now that that's all out of the way, allow me to gush about these 3 amazing recommendations that I have for actually good teen TV. It's like the title of the video. Freaks and Geeks is a teen comedy drama that premiered September 25th, 1999, and created by Paul Feig. Now, I know you teens are out there thinking, this looks so old. Now just hold your horses, because what I'm about to say will hopefully change your mind. It's set in the early 1980s. How's that for some nostalgia for a time period you never actually lived through? Boom! Fucking... Ooh! The show follows the Weir siblings and their disparate friend groups, the Freaks and the Geeks. What makes Freaks and Geeks so special, however, is the subversion of the teen TV genre. At this point in time, most sitcoms were over-romanticized fiction seen from the point of view of the popular crowd. Oh, I love you, Zach. Oh, I love you too, cheerleader. I can't really think of a name right now. Freaks and Geeks follows the rest of us. The underdogs, nerds, burnouts. They all had shit to deal with too. And the writers make the lessons the show teaches approachable to everyone. Freak, geek, or neither, you'll find something to love about one character, at least. Relationships is something that is especially nuanced in the series. Platonic friendships aren't perfect, and this show demonstrates what good friends are supposed to do. Call you out in your shit, trust each other, make each other better people. Teen romantic relationships are also shown to be imperfect. Sometimes you idolize someone who just isn't right for you, and sometimes you're just fucking horny. You can't think straight. I get it, man. You're going through puberty. The tone of the show ranges from legitimately hilarious.
Nah, no, you wouldn't want to trade places with me. Believe me.
I don't know, I mean, I'm Jewish. That's no cakewalk either. I was elected school treasurer last year. I didn't even run.
To dramatic sequences that still make my heart sink to this very day. One of my favorite characters is the school gym teacher, Coach Fredericks, played by goddamn Thomas Francis Wilson Jr., aka Biff motherfucking Tannen. Also, dude has like a vlog channel. Why didn't anyone tell me this before? Coach Ben Fredericks is an interesting subversion of the gym teacher trope. On the surface, it might seem like he's this hardened, unapproachable kind of asshole, but really, he's just a flawed dude just trying his best. He gives the geeks a good source of conflict once in a while also not being outwardly villainous, and there are moments where he's a legitimately good father figure to the geeks. He's just trying to be a good role model, and I think that's commendable. One scene that affected me heavily was in episode 14, and it's just this scene of one of the geeks, Bill, coming home after school, making himself a sandwich and then watching TV, and just kind of enjoying his own company, just being alone. And I don't know why, but this scene helped me realize that, like, yeah, sometimes it's okay to just, be alone. And watch anime all fucking day. Dude, oh my god. Oikawa's serve is so fucking strong. Alright, now let's get serious. On March 15th, 2016, tragedy struck Hanover High School in Oceanside, California, as a horrific case of vandalism shook the core of the entire community. Dylan Maxwell, age 17, was accused and expelled from school for these vandalism charges and still pleads that he is not guilty. What was the crime he was accused of? Spray painting 27 dicks on cars owned by the faculty. With Dylan's court date approaching quickly, 2 students attempt to find the truth. Who really drew the dicks? Now, again, I know what you're thinking, but trust me, you're gonna really want to check this one out. American Vandal is a mockumentary series parodying the true crime genre. Now, this being said, you do not need experience in the true crime genre to have a good time with the series. Like any good parody, it stands on its own without having to rely on referencing the source material. However, parody aside, that's not what makes this series so special. Upon seeing the first trailer and hearing the premise, I didn't really think much of it. Oh, that's kind of funny. It's a true crime parody set in high school. I might as well try it. I had Netflix, nothing better to do. Why not? And I ended up finishing the entire first season in one sitting. American Vandal is funny, don't get me wrong. But secretly, while you were laughing at the penis jokes, it builds one of the most compelling mystery stories I've personally enjoyed. Again, don't get me wrong, this isn't Brick. There's no ultra-intelligent detective solving a sprawling conspiracy with death around every corner, but the stakes are always high. The characters are teens, and they feel like teens. They're immature, they make mistakes, they're egotistical and naive, but not so much as the viewer feels frustrated, so much as that they make the audience understand what it's like to take on something bigger than yourself at that age. Characters often butt heads with authority, and usually it always feels like a losing battle. Adults are intimidating at that age, and they take full advantage of that feeling of overwhelming school authority. And that feeling of intensity and immense adversity is a hallmark of the entire series. Listen, I know it seems like I might be overhyping this series a little bit and making it seem like this series about dick graffiti is akin to The Thin Blue Line, but seriously, it's a fucking fantastic series. Season 1 and 2 have 8 episodes each, and it's all streaming on Netflix. If you watch at least one recommendation from this video, I would want it to be this. Unfortunately, the planned 3rd season was cancelled, and while season 2 does have a solid conclusion, it hurts my fucking soul that we won't be able to see Peter and Sam crack another case again. Now, I know my last recommendation was kind of a hard pitch, and I feel like this final one is going to be a bit controversial, but honestly, I just want to gush about probably my favorite teen TV show of all time. Video Game High School is campy, awkward, dated, and overwhelmingly excessive. And I fucking love it. It's just so much fun, and it embraces it so happily to just be over the top and fun and weird. It's a weird show, but it's just a look. It's got comedy, action, romance, drama. Video Game High School isn't high art, but teen media doesn't have to be. It just has to be fun. And Video Game High School is unapologetically fun. Now let's just be fair here. This whole show isn't just mindless fun. It has great performances and touching moments, especially in Season 3. Season 1 is essentially a fish out of water sports story, but around esports, which is cool, but Season 3 feels like it culminates all of the plot lines it set up from the very beginning. We see these characters struggle and triumph over their problems that were originally played off as jokes, but evolve and demonstrate the real effects these small parts of their character have had over the entire series. There are some really well-directed action scenes. the music is utilized fantastically later in the series. The main character, Brian, isn't super likable, and he's not really supposed to be. He's a dumb kid, in way over his head, and even when you think he's got a handle on something, he has to readapt. Which brings me to something all of these shows have in common, and it's something that VGHS, American Vandal, Freaks and Geeks, and even The Breakfast Club used to its full effect. And it's the aspect of identity. This is the secret ingredient that I think really makes teen media so special for me personally. You know, I was gonna sugarcoat this, but I'm just gonna tell you all straight up why I made this video. When I was younger, I didn't have many friends, so I often lost myself in the media I would consume. I still do. So media often teaches me a lot of things that I assume most people would learn by just living life. This is why teen TV is so special to me. It taught me a lot about how to act when you're a confused as fuck teenager. And it's especially angering to me that teen media nowadays is just TikToks, shitty YouTubers, myself included, and Riverdale. These 3 shows that I recommended to you all taught me so much about how to fucking function and find out who I really am. And I'm still honestly just trying to figure out all this life shit. But to leave you all on a brighter note, allow me to give y'all teens some advice from someone who's almost 20. All this shit seems really important right now, but I guarantee you, none of it's gonna matter a few years from now. Do good in school, take your time to figure out what you love, and if you don't know what love really is yet, don't worry, you got time. Kiss badly, break some hearts, and watch TV. Thank you for watching. Hi, thank you for watching my video. It was a labor of love for a very, very long time. I just want to make a few quick things right now. I really like making this video. It took a very long time, but I like being more positive than my past 2 videos have been, so I'm going to be making more videos like this, recommending stuff, so expect more of this kind of stuff. Other than that, I'm really surprised by how popular my last video got. It's currently at around 400 views, and while it does have a lot of dislikes, I still stand by what I said in that video. I think that it was, I mean, it's a reaction video, so, you know, my thoughts aren't super well organized in it, but I think I stand by whatever I said in the video. I think that it was good. And if you disagree, that's fucking fantastic, man. That's super cool. I mean, that's what the internet's all about, right? Yeah. Other than that, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of these kinds of, you know, recommendation videos and me talking about genres and stuff. So, yeah. Bye.